Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. FPL Consult here, and once again today I have for you guys another team selection video. So this one is our Game Week 31 team selection. So I'm going to answer a bit of the questions that you guys had before I get into my team selection. Right, so if you enjoy this one, help me out and give it a like. Subscribe if you are new around here so we can hit our season target of 1000 subscribers. But let's get on with the video. And the first question I want to answer is whether to keep or sell Trent. Right, most of us are having this debate within ourselves right now, whether to keep him or sell him. Right, so here are some of the reasons why we should sell him. Right, because he is an easy swap for another premium, maybe like Robertson, Cancelo, or even Reece James, who's back fit now. Right, and also to have a lot of cash locked up on the bench. He is more than 8 million, right? So for us to put him on the bench, it's quite a lot of value on the bench, and there's only 8 game weeks left. So to have so much value on the bench may not be the best play, right? And also, we're not missing much if we sell him, since Liverpool have Man City and Manchester United after Game Week 31, which is their fixture against Watford, right? So we're not really missing much in terms of the value that we can get from him. But here are some of the reasons why we should keep him, right? And one of it is mainly when he would return, right? So he is trying his best, I guess, to come back in time for the clash against Manchester City, which is in Game Week 32, right? So that would mean that if he is back fit in time for that game, we would only miss him for the Watford game, right? And honestly, once he is back fit, we would want him straight back in our teams, right? So in this way, we would lose money in buying him back right after we've just sold him. So in this sense, we should keep him so that we don't lose money in buying him back later on, right? So in general, I would say that overall, just to capture most of our situations, I would keep Trent if I've already used my second wildcard, or if I already have the other premium defenders, right? So like Robertson, Cancelo, Reece James, right? But I would sell him if I'm wildcarding in Game Week 34 or 35, right? And this is because in Game Week 31 they have Watford, Game Week 32 they have City, and Game Week 33 most of us are thinking of free hitting in Game Week 33, right? So the fixture against Manchester United would not matter because we can just free hit him in, and then in Game Week 34 or 35 onwards we would have him in our wildcard drafts. So essentially we're only concerned about Game Week 31 and 32, right? Watford and Man City, and the Man City game would be a tough one for Trent as well. So in essence, we're only losing the Watford game, right? So if I was on a wildcard in Game Week 34 or 35, I would sell him, but I wouldn't do it for a hit, and that's exactly what I'm doing. So for my team, I'm already making one transfer. Later on, you guys will see. And what that means is that to sell Trent for maybe Cancelo or Robertson would make me need to take a hit, and that's not what I want to do because I don't feel like the value is there. Because I am wildcarding in Game Week 34, and I also am free hitting in Game Week 33, right? So essentially, I'm only concerned about Game Week 31 or 32. So for me, because I would have to take a hit, I wouldn't sell him. And yeah, but in general, if you guys have a free transfer and you're wildcarding in Game Week 34 or 35, then I would say to sell him. Right, so for this part of the video is for those of you guys who have asked who are the best teams for the Game Week 31 and Game Week 32 combination, right? And that's because you guys are on a free hit 33 and a wildcard 34 or 35 strategy, right? Similar to mine. So we would now be looking at some of the best teams and the best players to target just for these 2 game weeks, right? So if you can see on the screen right now, the teams in green are the ones that I feel have the best fixtures, right? Arsenal has Palace and Brighton. Burnley has the 3 games in these 2 game weeks. We already know this. Chelsea has Brentford and Southampton, pretty decent fixtures there. Leeds has Southampton and Watford. United has Leicester, Everton. Tottenham has Newcastle and Aston Villa. West Ham has Everton, Brentford, and then Wolves has Aston Villa and Newcastle, right? So all these teams, I would say, have pretty decent fixtures. So in the next graphic, I will kind of show you some of the players to target from these teams, right? But some of the teams that we should stay away from, for the time being at least, if we are on this strategy, is Aston Villa, Brentford, Crystal Palace, and Newcastle, because they don't have very good fixtures from Game Week 31 and until Game Week 32, right? So moving on now, we're going to take a look at some of the best players to target from these teams in green. So here are the best players to target just for these 2 game weeks, right? And I've kept the budget to less than 8 million. That's because I don't think that many of us will be thinking of bringing in premiums right now. Obviously the standout ones are like Kane and Son, but we probably already have them. They have quite a high ownership, and also I wouldn't say that it makes sense to bring in those Manchester United premiums like maybe Bruno Fernandes, Ronaldo, or Sancho. I don't think that there's a lot of value in that right now. So I'm gonna keep the budget to less than 8 mil, and we're gonna start with Arsenal, right? So if we don't already have any of these three, I would say that it will make sense to bring any one of these players if we want to take advantage of the Arsenal fixtures for Game Week 31 until Game Week 32, right? So Saka is the obvious one, but Martinelli is a pretty good differential. I would say his ownership isn't as high as Saka, and he is kind of a dynamic player that I think can take advantage of these two fixtures as well. And then of course Odegaard, who runs the show for Arsenal, right? So for Burnley, I would say that the only player that I would bring in at this point in time is Weghorst, right? He has a lot of games against pretty decent teams coming up as well, and on top of this, they have Norwich in game week 32, right? So they double in 31 and have a easy fixture in game week 32. So Weghorst is a pretty good option. And then for Chelsea, Havertz and Mount are obviously the standout ones. I think I would lean towards Havertz a bit more if I have the budget. He is at about 7.9 mil, so really just crossing the less than 8 mil range. But I would say that he is kind of the best Chelsea attacker to have right now because he plays in the number 9 position, and he is registered as a midfielder in the game, right? So I would say that Havertz is a really, really good asset to have right now to take advantage of Chelsea's good fixtures in these 2 game weeks, right? And then for Leeds, obviously the standout ones are Rafinha and Rodrigo. I think Rodrigo is a little bit more of a differential, so if you want to go there, he's definitely a possible option. Rafinha is back from his illness. He had COVID a while back, so he's back now, and Rafinha playing against pretty decent teams, I would say that there's every chance that he gets returns. And then for Tottenham, less than 8 mil, I would say Kulusevski is another standout option there, for obvious reasons, right? He's been in really good form. And then for West Ham, Antonio and Benrahma. So Benrahma is a pretty good differential, I would say, because West Ham have good fixtures in 31 and 32, and Benrahma is currently in for Bowen. Of course, if we find out that Bowen is back fit and he'll start the games, then maybe not Benrahma. But for now, because Bowen still seems like he's out, Benrahma could be a very good differential to have. And also lastly for Wolves, because Jimenez is currently suspended, right, because of his red card. So I would say that they still do have fixtures. They still do have good fixtures, right? That's why we went for Jimenez in the first place, right? So I think one of the standout options would be Podence from Wolves. He's been really good in the second half of this season, and someone that has come on the radar of late, I would say, is Trincao, right? He has been really good. He got subbed down in halftime in the previous game, and really just did a really good job. Scored and assisted in the game against Leeds, right? Even though they lost, so I think really, really good option in Trincao. They're a good differential as well. So overall, I would say that these are the best players to target for less than 8 mil. If we are looking to bring in just some players to target these 2 game weeks, right? So now I'm gonna move on to the team selection. Right, so very quickly, this was how I did for Game Week 30, right? And I got 53 points, a very, very tiny green arrow, right? But still a green arrow. My aim, obviously, is to finish in the top 50k at least, so hopefully we can get there. But if we take a look at my Game Week 30 performance, I would say that for a team that didn't free hit in Game Week 30, this is a pretty decent score. I got 53 points, and mainly because of the captain Son, right? That paid off really well. And as for the rest of my team, everyone pretty much blanked except for the Arsenal guys, right? So Tierney and Saka, right? Saka with a really good goal, 3 bonus points, happy days there. And Tierney, I just brought him in and he got a clean sheet, so really, really happy about that. But for now, I'm going to have to take a look at the changes that I would have to make to kind of prepare the team for Game Week 31. So this is how I'm lining up in game week 31, and currently in my starting 11 there are two flags, right? So there's James and Davy. So Reece James, we already know that he's back in full training, so shouldn't be a problem there. And Davies, he has a bit of tightness in his thighs, but he came back early from the international break to kind of rest and recuperate, so hopefully he'll be back in time. I'm pretty confident about that. So as of now, this is my team. And I made one change, which is to take Jimenez out and bring in Vekhorst. Right, bring in Vekhorst because not only does he have a double in Game Week 31, he also has a really good fixture in Game Week 32 against Norwich. Right, so my strategy right now is to take advantage of just these two game weeks, 31 and 32. So Vekhorst, I would say, I feel is the best value for me at this point in time if I have to take Jimenez out. Right, and also I would say that captaining Salah this game week should pretty much be a no-brainer, right? A lot of us are doing it, but those of us who kind of want to go differential, I've seen some people captaining Robertson, maybe some even want to take another punt on James, right? So definitely these are punts, and I guess some people want to do it to chase mini leagues, right? But I would still go with Salah. And mainly this is how my team is set up: 3 Spurs players, 3 Arsenal players. I have Salah, I have Vekhorst, Antonio, also have James and Kilman, right? So Kilman, I would say he didn't start the game against Leeds, right? But I think that Bruno Lago will be changing up some things because of the loss against Leeds, right? So I do expect Kilman to come back in. And on the bench, I have the only playing player I would say is King against Liverpool, so not great, but I don't think that I would need to call on him. And for the rest of the players on the bench, Foster, the second keeper, Bowen and Trent, they're both still nursing injuries, so I don't think that they would be back in time. But let's wait for the press conference for the news on Bowen at least, right? But Trent definitely isn't going to be back in time, right? So currently, this is how I'm lining up. I think pretty decent team. I was quite tempted to wildcard in Game Week 31 for obvious reasons, right? The wildcard draft I made for the wildcard team in Game Week 31. That team really kind of tempted me, I would say. If you haven't checked out the video, you can check it out. I'll put it in the end screen later on. But yeah, I kind of made the decision to just go with a free transfer instead because I feel like there's slightly more upside after looking at all the fixtures, the possibilities. I think there is a little bit more upside to wildcard later on. But definitely based on you guys' strategy, your transfers this week, your chip strategy would define your transfer. So really just go have a think about what you want to do moving forward, and then kind of make your transfers for this week, right? But hopefully this video was helpful for you guys. If you did enjoy, do drop a like and also subscribe if you are new around here so we can hit our season target of 1,000 subscribers. But for now, I will see you guys in another video very soon. Bye bye.